Anyways, so it is Friday. I didn't post a tag video yesterday because I wanted to do the adoption questionnaire that I got from the agency. So sorry, no video yesterday, but you're getting it today. So this is technically my Tag Thursday video. I also have a grocery haul I need to upload. I have a quick update that I want to upload. I have about 500 different adoption related things I want to update on. But anyway, I'm doing this today. So just to forewarn you, this is probably going to be a very lengthy video because there's a lot of questions. They're not even numbered, probably because they don't want to overwhelm you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically say the question, read my answer, and kind of discuss it a little bit if there needs to be any discussing. If you have any questions, feel free to post them down below, as always. And this is going to vary agency to agency. So this is just the questionnaires that my agency gave me. There's no guarantee your agency's going to do the same. Shova, stop stealing stuff from the nightstand. There is two parts to this. The one part I'm going to do first is basically the checklist questions about transracial adoption, thing that this is just for the agency to know what you are and aren't willing to accept. And then there's the prospective adoptive parent questionnaire, which the birth mother actually gets to see this, what she narrows down her choices. They are the longer questions. So anyway, so first off with the application, which is the one that says, sorry, my dog's distracting me, which says basically what you're willing and not willing to accept. So first off, it says age range of child, and it goes newborn up to 6 months, up to 1 year, up to 2 years, and then maximum age. So for me, I have newborn, up to 6 months, and up to 1 year checked off. My agency really doesn't deal with anything but newborns. The odd time, maybe a 1 month or 2 month old baby, but it's rare. But I checked off up to 1 year because that's basically what I'm willing to accept. The second question says number of children, and the options are single, twins, and siblings, with it says minimum age and maximum age. For me, I only checked off single. I think in a few weeks you're going to see the one and done video, and it'll kind of go over more. But basically, I cannot handle twins because I fly a lot, and I don't know what it is in Canada, but basically the flight people, regulators, say that you are not allowed to fly with more than one infant per person. So I would have to fly with someone in order to fly with twins. So I'm not willing to obviously do that. So I've only checked off single for that one. The next one is child conceived as a result of, and it's basically yes or no. And date rape, stranger rape, incest, and prostitution. I have all checked off for yes. My belief is that all children are precious, and I would be more than willing to be the mother to any child. Is it more difficult in terms of telling their story? Of course, but it's something that as a newborn I have time to think of and research and fully understand how to tell them their story. Racial heritage, there's Caucasian, First Nations, Latin American, Black, South Asian, and Asian. And basically there's 100% to 25%. So the way they explained it to us was that if you're willing to accept 100% Caucasian baby, but only 50% First Nations baby, like that's the maximum percentage. So say you checked off 50% for all the races but Caucasian, that means you're willing to accept a half Caucasian and a half other race. I have 100% checked off for any because I don't really care the race of the baby. In terms of cultural differences, it's challenging, but being a parent's challenging in general. So one step at a time, getting through things. Again, adopting an infant's different or a newborn because they grow up with you as their parent, and that's all they know. I skipped over. Well, I'm going. Anyway, birth father, more than one possible birth father, yes or no. Birth father identity unknown, yes or no. I checked off yes for both because again, yeah, sure, you won't get the full medical history, but with using a donor, I wasn't necessarily getting full birth father information either. So not a big deal there. Number 21 goes with the racial heritage part. Any combination of the above, like any combination of the races, right? Which again, I checked off yes. It says, if no, please explain. Number 22, indicate if you have any difficulties with a specific culture. If yes, please explain. Obviously, I checked off no, because obviously don't. But I guess if there was one specific culture that you didn't want. So this is where you're going to, it's actually like questions. So I'm going to try to read through these quickly for you. Anyway, what are your thoughts about transracial adoption? I feel that although there are some different challenges with adopting transracially, the majority are the same issues that every family has. Transracial adoption is becoming more and more common. Slowly, people are becoming more open to and accepting of transracial families. Please state why you are not open to are not applying to adopt transracially. I'm applying to adopt transracially because I do not see a reason not to. In the end, the child is still a child, still has the same needs as a child. There will be different issues that need to be explored, but I feel that I am up to exploring them. My support system is open to helping me regardless of the child's race. What would be the biggest challenges you would face by adopting a child of a different race? I feel the biggest challenge for me will be the questions and comments from strangers. As the child grows, I will develop new strategies for how to address these questions and comments. What would be the response of your immediate and extended family? I have often discussed with my family adopting a child of different race. They have been very supportive and open about it. Family friends have adopted transracially, and she has been welcomed completely by my family. My family has said that no matter that they will welcome any child I choose to bring into the family. Like I said, we do have family friends that adopted a baby from China. No issues there. I've talked about adopting a child of a different race since I was a teenager, because just researching into adoption, Caucasian babies, I was going through foster care, or thinking of foster to adopt, and it just happened that the majority were not white, and that was just something I said to my mom, like, are you okay if I have a child that's not white? And she was totally open to it. She didn't care. My family, no one seems to care, so they're open to anything. How will members of the community support or not support your transracial adoption? Although my community is mostly First Nations, there are other races here. There are also transracial families and biracial children. The community will support my decision to adopt transracially because it's not really unusual to them. The difference between transracial and biracial, maybe I should address that quickly. Biracial is a child of mixed races, so 50% one race, 50% of another, something like that, right? Transracial is one person in the family is one race, another person is a different race, so not within the same person. So there's transracial couples, there's transracial families, whereas biracial is actually the specific person has multiple races. So those were the questions that no matter whether or not you were applying to adopt transracially or not, you had to answer those. These questions are now only just for if you are applying, which I obviously am, so I am answering them. As your child gets older, what questions do you expect they may have regarding racial identity? I expect my child to have many different questions, and they will become more difficult to answer as the child gets older. When he/she is younger, I expect questions about why they look different from me. When he/she is older, I expect more challenging questions about belonging and cultural identity. For the purpose of making this video a little easier, I'm just going to say he, where I wrote he/she, okay? How are you prepared to explore this with him/her? I have friends that have adopted transracially, so I will have their support as my child grows. They will have experiences and will have, wow, I don't know what that says. They have the experiences that they've had and will have with their daughter. When my child is younger, I plan on reading books such as the Todd Parr's The Family Book, which if you haven't seen that book, you'll check it out. When older, we will research and explore together. I am currently belong to a group that has many transracial families, so I will have their support as well. How will you feel about the attention your family may receive as a transracial family? Although I am Caucasian, I have lived in places where I am the minority, here as one of them, and also Korea. I received stares and questions. I've had people approach me just to touch my skin. Korea. I feel that I have learned to deal with the both positive and the negative attention that I've received. With having a transracial family, I am sure that I will be uncomfortable at first, but over time I will adjust. In Korea, I got stares, I got comments, I was touched like all the time. They just want to like pet me basically. Here, there's like kind of reverse racism. But I still get stares and comments and whatnot. Are you willing and able to learn about the culture of your child you adopt? How? I am definitely willing to learn about his culture. I love to research, so I am sure that while he is young, I will be learning as much as possible. When he is older, we may attend cultural events if he would like to. If the child's culture has a specific language, for example, the birth mother speaks it, then I will learn it and help him learn it as well. In my home, I will represent the culture as much as possible. And so my big thing with that is if I adopt a child from here, they do speak their language here, so I would want to keep that because I feel like taking the child away from the community, they may lose some of that. So I would like to have that in the house. And it's not that hard to get CDs, especially with a newborn. They learn language much faster than an older child. So I could keep CDs and learn the language as they're learning it and try to keep that language. What strengths do you possess which could be called upon if your child is discriminated against? I didn't really like this question, but anyway. I feel that I will need my patience, understanding, and love if my child is discriminated against. I will need my patience to react calmly and thoughtfully. I will need my understanding to remember that discrimination is usually caused by ignorance. I will try to educate the person so they can make better choices in the future. Lastly, I will need all my love to help my child understand that it does not matter what their race is and that I will love them regardless of what people think. What would be the biggest challenge your child would face if he or she is of a different racial background than you? I feel that his biggest challenge would be feeling like he belongs. He may feel that he cannot identify as Caucasian because of his skin color. On the other hand, he may feel that he cannot identify with his own race culture because he was not raised in a family of the same culture. Anyway, so that is the done for the transracial questions. Onto it, the next page, it goes to what the birth mother has done in her pregnancy and what you're willing and not willing to accept. So birth mother substance use, what is the latest month of confirmation? So like for instance, if you've TTC'd, you know that your month of confirmation is like month 0. Like 4 weeks, less than that. But if you have had a pregnancy before that was unexpected, you know that if you're not paying attention, you might not actually realize you're pregnant. You might doubt that you're pregnant, and that's what happens a lot of the time. If you've ever watched I Didn't Know I Was Pregnant, stuff like that. So basically this is just to give them an idea of where the line is that you want to draw for when they actually knew they were pregnant, and it also goes along with the questions after that. So I put any because honestly the child, she could show up at the hospital, give birth, and not realize she was pregnant. I'd be fine with that. Cigarettes, acceptable during pregnancy, yes or no? Yes. Alcohol. So this is where it gets broken down into like before confirmation and after confirmation. So that's where the length of confirmation comes in. So for before confirmation, for alcohol, no alcohol, 3 times or less a week, 6 times or less a week, 10 times or less a week, more than 10 times a week. And that same for after confirmation. Because I'm open to an FAS baby, I put more than 10 times a week because honestly, I'm open to an FAS baby. So and then if a birth mother follows the above pattern of drinking, but has a few instances of drinking that disrupts the regular pattern, please indicate the number of times you are comfortable. So for instance, the birth mother really after confirmation wasn't drinking at all, except for she had one drink on 2 occasions, stuff like that, right? So before confirmation, how many times and how many amounts, and after confirmation, how many times, how many amounts, which I wrote any and any for both because, again, don't care. Soft drugs, so stuff like pot. Before confirmation, after confirmation, no use, once a month, once per week, 3 or less per week, more than 3 times per week, which I checked off more than 3 times for both. Hard drugs, so cocaine, heroin, stuff like that. Again, before and after, exact same with as the soft drugs, which again I checked off the highest, more than 3 times a week. IV drugs, same thing, more than 3 times a week. Criminal record acceptable, yes or no. For birth mother, yes, I checked off. Birth father, yes, I checked off. The birth father one kind of scares me a little more than the birth mom one, because it is open adoption, but I feel like I would be able to draw a line, especially with, I will be adopting a child either from here or from Winnipeg, and the chances that I will live here or live in Winnipeg are slim to none. And if I was, and there was an issue that I thought needed to be addressed, I would just move. Birth father substance use. Please indicate if you have any concerns about birth father substance use. None, because obviously if I'm willing to accept anything from the birth mother. Birth parent medical issues. Please identify any conditions you could not accept. If we do not know the birth father's social medical history, we'll only match according to the information we have. And it says birth mother, birth father, and the conditions are epilepsy, type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, cystic fibrosis, hemophilia, muscular dystrophy, multiple sclerosis, ADHD, Down syndrome, cognitive disability, FASD, autism spectrum disorder, personality disorder, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, depression, anxiety disorder, HIV positive, hepatitis C positive. The only ones I checked off from that were, which I mentioned in a different video. I don't know if you guys actually seen the video yet, but hemophilia, because it's usually passed on by the father, and I actually babysat a boy that was hemophiliac, and we didn't know it until like a year or 2 after I stopped babysitting him. But it is scary. If I had known at the time that he was, I wouldn't have taken the job, and if it was diagnosed during it, I would quit. Because basically anytime the child gets a bruise, anytime they get a cut, they usually need a blood transfusion, which that's pretty darn scary to like get a paper cut and need to go to the hospital, because their blood doesn't clot. Anyway, the other 2 I checked off were HIV positive and Hep C positive, because it's not so much the birth father that's the issue, it's more the birth mother. But I would be worried the birth father passed it on to the birth mother, and it's the birth itself. I mean, there's some precautions that they can take by, like doing a C-section and whatnot, but I don't want a baby that's Hep C or HIV, so I'm not willing to risk saying yes to an HIV mom, and then even if she has a C-section, there's no guarantee the baby won't be HIV, so it's just not something I'm willing to accept. And then it says other, which I left blank because there's nothing other I can think of. What? Then there's medical conditions of the child. Please check any conditions you are not willing to, you could not accept in a child, prenatally diagnosed or present in child at birth. So the choices are Down syndrome, hydrocephalus, I think that's how you say it, cerebral palsy, heart defect, spina bifida, cleft lip, cleft palate, club foot / hands, and other. So out of these ones, I wrote, beside Down syndrome, I said unless severe heart defect. I checked off hydrocephalus because it's a long-term issue that I'm just not willing to deal with. Besides cerebral palsy and heart defect, I wrote unless severe. I originally had left it blank, but I wanted to put that it is going to be a case by case. So I would like my profile basically shown, but if it turns out that it's too major, I don't want to, I can't do it. And spina bifida, which I had mentioned in my special needs video. Fill out the section below only if you're adopting a child older than a newborn. So there's basically experiences of the child, cognitive and physical disabilities, and then sensory disabilities. So under experiences, attachment issues, chronic neglect, emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, which I've checked off none. These are ones you're not willing to accept. So I'm open to all those. Cognitive and physical disabilities, cognitive disability, development delay, physical disability, and fetal alcohol, which physical disability, I feel like it depends on what that disability is. If they're getting me in a wheelchair, I can't accept that. But anyway, most likely I'm going to have a newborn anyway, so it won't matter. Under sensory disabilities, speech impairment, vision impairment, hearing impairment. The only thing I checked off was vision impairment, and I wrote in brackets, unless mild, because I had mentioned in my special needs video, I don't have the resources to help a blind child. And then openness in adoption. Basically, because I'm doing open adoption, I have to be willing to meet the birth mom several times before the birth of the baby. I have to be willing to send letters and pictures at 3, 6, 9, 12 months and yearly thereafter. Willing to accept a gift for a child. Willing to accept a letter for the child in trust of me. Be willing to accept phone calls, emails, texts from the birth mom, birth parents. Be willing to notify birth parents in case of serious illness, accident, death, or major family change, such as the addition of another child, divorce, death, whatnot. There's no options. That's just what it's telling you, that's what you must be open to. And then it has visits. So how many visits are you willing to have with the mother? Up to 1 per year, up to 2 per year, up to 3 per year, up to 4 per year, which I've checked up to 1 per year, more if able to, because I don't want to commit to doing more when I could be on the other side of the country. Like, I know this isn't set in stone, but I just don't want a birth mom being like, oh yeah, she can visit 3 times a year, when in reality I might not be able to. So I know because of summer I can at least visit once, and then it says more visits in the first year. So for instance, the first year you are willing to visit 6 times, but after that you really only want 2 times. You can check that off, but I just left it blank. So that is the first section. Let me see how much time that took. So that was 22 minutes. So I think what I'm going to do is put this in 2 parts for you guys, and do part 2 tomorrow. Sorry, I really feel bad for that, but I think that's what I'm going to have to do, because it's going to be like 2 hours long if I don't. But anyway, thanks for watching today. Tune in tomorrow and have a good night. Bye.